ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं गुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। ॐ प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहंसगिरिं तुरीयं यस्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न जभूतसङ्कः प्रादर्भजामि मनसा वचसामगम्यं वाचो विभाति निखिलाय तन्नुग्रहेण यन्नेदि नेदि वचनेर्निगमावऊचो तं देवदेवमजमजमाहुरग्रम् प्रादर्नमामि तमसः पूर्णं पुरुषोत्तमाख्यं यस्मिन्निदं जगदशेषमशेषमूर्तो रज्ज्वाम्बुजङ्गमैव प्रतिभासिदं वै। ॐ प्राणस्येदं वचे सर्वं त्रिदिवेय प्रतिष्ठितं मातेव पुत्रान् रक्षस्व श्रीज्ञप्रज्ञां च विधेयन इति। ചിന്മയാഷ്ടകം. വിജ്ഞാനസാരവചനാമൃത ജഹ്നു കന്യാ നിശേഷദൗദവിനിജകിൽബിഷമുന്നതാംസം ശ്രീകണ്ഠമണ്ഡിതമനോജ്ഞ വിശാലഭാലം ശ്രീചിന്മയം ഗുരുവരം ഹൃദി ഭാവയാമി. ശ്രീചിന്മയം ഗുരുവരം ഹൃദി ഭാവയാമി. സന്ദീപനീതി ഭുവന പ്രദീദം പ്രശാന്തം അധ്യാസിതം പരമമംഗളമാലയാഗ്രം ശ്രീമത്തപോവനതപോധന ശിഷ്യവൈര്യം ശ്രീചിന്മയം ഗുരുവരം ഹൃദി ഭാവയാമി. ശ്രീചിന്മയം ഗുരുവരം ഹൃദി ഭാവയാമി. നാനാപുരാണനിഗമാഗത തത്വവിജ്ഞം സാക്ഷാത്കൃത പ്രണവസാരമുദാരഭാവം സംസാരഘോരതരകാനനതാവവഹ്നിം ശ്രീചിന്മയം ഗുരുവരം ഹൃദി ഭാവയാമി. ശ്രീചിന്മയം ഗുരുവരം ഹൃദി ഭാവയാമി. കല്യാണശീതളകടാക്ഷ നിരീക്ഷണേന താപത്രയ പ്രശമനൈകപരം സുധീരം പ്രജ്ഞാനവാരിധി തരംഗവിഹാരലോലം ശ്രീചിന്മയം ഗുരുവരം ഹൃദി ഭാവയാമി. ശ്രീചിന്മയം ഗുരുവരം ഹൃദി ഭാവയാമി. ഓം മൂകം കരോതി വാചാലം പങ്കും ലംഘയതേ ഗിരിം യത്കൃപാതമഹം വന്ദേ പരമാനന്ദമാധവം. യം ബ്രഹ്മാ വരുണേന്ദ്രരുദ്രമരുതഃ തുന്വന്തി ദിവ്യൈസ്തവൈ വേദൈ സാംഗപദക്രമോപനിഷദൈ ഗായന്തി യം സാവകാം ധ്യാനാവസ്ഥിതതദ്ഗതേന മനസാ പശ്യന്തി യം യോഗിനോ യസ്യാന്തം ന വിദുഃസുരാസുരഗണ ദേവായ തസ്മൈ നമഃ. സർവധർമാൻ പരിത്യജ്യ അമേകം ചരണം വ്രജ അഹം ത്വാ സർവപാപിഭ്യോ മോക്ഷയിഷ്യാമി മാ ശുചഃ. ശ്ലോകാസ് 21 to 30. ഓം നമോ ഭഗവതേ വാസുദേവായ. ഓം ശ്രീകൃഷ്ണ പരമാത്മനേ നമഃ. അധ തൃതീയോധ്യായഃ കർമ്മയോഗഃ. ശ്രീഭഗവാനുവാച യദ്യദാചരതി ശ്രേഷ്ഠ തദ്ദേവേതരോ ജനഃ സ യത് പ്രമാണം കുരുതേ ലോകസ്തദനുവർത്തതേ. ന മേ പാർത്ഥാസ്തി കർത്തവ്യം ത്രിഷു ലോകേഷു കിഞ്ചന നാനവാപ്തമവാപ്തവ്യം വർത്ത ഏവ ച കർമ്മണി. യദി ഹ്യഹം ന വർത്തേയം ജാതു കർമ്മണ്യതന്ത്രിതഃ മമ വക്മാനുവർത്തന്തെ മനുഷ്യഃ പാർത്ഥ സർവശഃ. ഉത്സീദേതു മേ ലോകാഃ ന കുര്യാം കർമ്മ ചേദഹം संगरस्य च कर्ता स्यात् उपहन्यामि मा प्रजाः सक्था कर्मण्य विद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद्धिन्द्वां तदा सक्तं चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहं न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् ज्ञानां कर्म संगिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन् प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणे कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सञ्जते प्रकृते गुणसम्मूढाः सञ्जते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृष्ण विभो मन्दान् कृष्णवन् विन्न विचालयेत् मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः ओम तत्सत्
Hari Om. Pradeep ji, recap.
Hari Om. So Mahashivaratri prayers to all. Yesterday it was very fulfilling to see the puja and Vedic chanting and arati and all that at Sri Jagadishwara temple in Powai. So recap verses 20 and 21. Karmana eva hi samshuddhim samsiddhim asthita janagadeyaha lokasangrahamevapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. So karmana eva hi samshuddhim. So you will get perfection only through action. So the example given is of Janaka and such great men who has purified their mind and achieved perfection while doing their duty as the king. So Gurudev says that wherever you are, that is the most conducive situation for you to exhaust the vasanas. So never crib on the what you are in. So use that, Sanjay ji explained that, so exhausting vasanas in the by doing your action well. And what is to be seen is that while exhausting the vasanas, we should not add new vasanas. So that has to be one has to be very alert to see that no new vasanas are added onto that. So that for that, what one has to do is to avoid the anxiety or the attachment to the fruit. So that is possible by doing work for the society on a broader perspective. So that is what it is said here in this verse, that is Loka Sangraham vapi va api sambashyan kartum arhasi. This example is given just for that doesn't mean that everybody has to fight the war or be in the do the protection of the masses and all, that is applicable for the king. But in every single work which you are in, which the Prarabdha has brought you in, has to be done in a most perfect manner without adding new vasanas, and while doing this work for the exhaustion of vasanas, in the sense purifying the mind for greater flight. And then the next verse is Yadyad Ajarati Sreshtaha Tattad Eva Idaro Janaha Sayat Pramanam Gurude Logastada Anuvartate. So Gurudev says that man is essentially an imitating animal. So we need to imitate, then we have to imitate the Sreshthas. So because, and any small work you do has to be done in the most appropriate way, in a higher perspective, so that others who see you also will emulate that. Even whatever level you are in, there are people who are looking at you. That is what Ishwarji said yesterday. So maybe even for a beggar, there are many people, many beggars who are looking at him. So even to that, anyone who is doing a job, who is doing his duties, should be doing it in the most perfect way for others to emulate, follow. So that is Krishna's example, and it's all given there, that he has been, I think, coming in the next verse. So that is the recap. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Suresh ji.
Hari Om, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Still the Mahashivratri Vrata is continuing. So wish you all a happy Shivaratri, and let us pray to the Lord Shiva to remove all the evils happening in this world. Today, our slogas are 22 and 23. 22 is Name Parthasti Kartavyam Trishu Logeshu Kinjana Na Anavapta Amaptavyam Martha Evaja Karmani. Na, not. Me, me. Me, my. Partha, O Partha. Asti is Kartavyam, to be done, the duty. Trishu, in the three. Logeshu, the worlds. Kinjana, anytime. Na, not. Anavapta, unattained. Avaptavyam, to be attained. Varte, am engaged. Eva, also. Cha, at. Karmani, in action. There is nothing in these three worlds, O Partha, that has to be done by me, nor in there anything unattained that should be attained by me. Yet I engage myself in action. Being a perfect man, a true yogi, Krishna has no more desire for the achieving or gaining anything in the world. Had he wanted a kingdom all for himself, he could have easily carved out one. But he was in the battlefront only with the sense of the duty towards the noble and the righteous cause the Pandavas stood for. Krishna's entire life is a constant unveiling of his spirit of detachment. Please refer to the Mahabharata in brief given in the beginning of the general introduction in the chapter 1. At his very birth, he left his parents' bosom for the Yashoda's cradle. in Gogul, he moved from the Gogul to Vrindavan along with the God's father. Suddenly, as duty called him, without any hesitation, he left the gopis of the Vrindavan and his famous coverts reeds. They flew to reach Mathura and there defeated and killed his tyrant uncle Kamsa. The kingdom automatically became his, but he renounced it in favor of the Ugrasena and the Mathura for Dwaraka. Out of the waste land, there he carved out a new kingdom, and when it was fully established, he gave away the entire Raja, lock, stock, and barrel to the Vrishnis, his own clan, and reached Hastinapura. The life of the Lord till the very moment of the Mahabharata war had been a perfect life of the complete detachment, and even then, even though there was nothing, he had not gained nor had he anything further to gain. He was speaking himself constantly, inactively, as though the work was to him a rapturous game of the enthusiasm and joy. 23. Sloga. Yadi hridamna varteyam yadu karmanyadadindrida mama vartanu vartande manushya partha sarvacha. Yadi, if, he, surely, aham, I, na, not, kartavyam, varteyam, engage in action, yadu, ever, karmani, in action, adandrida, without the relaxation, mama, my, varma, path, anuvartade, follows, manushya, men, partha, O partha, sarvacha, in every way. For should I not even engage myself in the action without the relaxation, men would in every way follow my path, O son of Pradha. Why should the Lord work? What would be the loss to the generation if he were not to work at all? The masses always imitate their leaders and heroes in their dress, in their behavior, in their moral values, in their actions, in all the branches of their activities. They fix their measure of the perfection always by watching the standard of the life of their leaders. If the Lord did not continue to work without relaxation, men also should follow in his wake and sink themselves into the inactivity and so into an unproductive existence. In the nature, everything acts constantly and sincerely. The entire universe survives and sustains itself by activity. In these stanzas, as everywhere all along in the Gita, the first person singular is used by the Lord Krishna, not in the sense of the blue boy of the Vrindavana, but as the Atman or the self-realized man of the perfection, a liberated soul realized himself to be nothing other than the spirit, upon which alone the play of the matter sustained, as the dream is sustained upon the waker. If this God principle, though inactive in itself, does not consistently serve the pluralistic phenomenal world as it the permanent substratum, the world as it is now cannot exist. The ocean never rises in spite of the billows. Yet it is a fact that without the ocean, the waves cannot rise or dance. Similarly, if the Lord were not to keep on activity serving the world, the cultural life of the generation would stagnate. And that harm is there if I do not act, the Lord says. Sloka 22. Name partha asti kartavyam trishu logeshu kinjana na anavaptam avaptatyam varte evacha karmani. There is nothing in the three words of Partha that has to be done, me, nor is there anything unattained that should be attained by me, yet I engage myself in action. We can see that all these slogas, the last couple of weeks, we are going through the messages. Lord is insisting the importance of the performing the duties or the action with the utmost detachment. We have seen that last week also. Some examples furnishing. Lord Krishna is furnishing some example. Janaka Maharaja's story he is bringing. Janaka was a wise Brahmana, wise Kshatriya. At the same time, he was a Brahmajani also. So this is the reason it is furnishing. In that history, if you look at that history, these are the people, the Janaka, Vishwagu, Ambarisha, Ashwapati, all these people were the wise Kshatriyas or the rulers. At the same time, they were the Brahmajanis. Especially the Janaka story, if you look at that, the Vyasa Bhagavan himself, he sent his son Shukadeva to learn the Brahmajanam. He sent Shuga to Janaka's court. Under the guidance of Janaka, he learned certain vidyas. So these are the examples furnishing. And coming to the 23rd verse also, Bhagavan himself is giving the example. Who was Lord Krishna? Lord Krishna was a Videhamuktan. He was a perfect man, and he was he attained the Kaivalya state. So all these examples is furnishing and insisting the importance of the karma yoga or perform the duty. You can see that. And the last sloga, last week, we have discussed the 20th sloga. There is a usage is there, Janaka Ashwapati Pravridaya. Sanjayji was very well explained based on the commentary of Madhusudan Maharaj. He was explaining that he meant to say that the Madhusudan Maharaj is meant to say that Janaka and the Ajata Shatru. But if you refer to the Shankara Bhashyam, you can see that this Ashwapati in the epics, you can see the Ashwapati in Ramayana and in Mahabharata also. There are two characters we can see that. For your information, I am sharing this one. The Janaka, of course, we know that who is Janaka. He is the Mithiladipati, the father of Sitaji. Janaka Maharaja is there. And the second, the Ashwapati, he is the Madhyadipati. Madhyadipati is the father of the Savitri. We can see that. That is based on the Mahabharata. Based on the Ramayana, you can see that another ruler also in the Kege Rajya is there. So in this context, according to Shankara, you can take the example of the Mithiladhipati and the Madhuradhipati, the Janaka and the Asyapati. Anyway, that is not our argument. So here in this sloka 22nd, Bhagavan is saying that there is nothing in the three worlds, O Partha, that has to be done by me, nor is there anything unattained and should be attained by me. Yet I engage myself in action. You know, Anavaptam and Avaptavyam. Nothing is for him to unattained or to be attained. He has everything, all. He is a perfect man, but still he was performing his duty, you know, in the warfield of the justice for the winning of Pandavas. He was doing all this thing. And in the commentary, Swamiji is saying that he was born in the Gokul and then he moved to the Vrindavan along with the godfather. Suddenly, as duty called him without, so like that, it was saying that he was in Vrindavan and then he was moving to the he was in Gokul, and from the Gokul he was moving to the Vrindavan and all this thing. And we know that historically, if you look at also, Bhagavan, most of the time he was traveling. Imagine that there was no transportation facility. Imagine that in the Dwaraka, he was in the childhood and the youth and the later stage, he spent traveling, keep on traveling in between the Dwaraka, the Hastinapuri and the Magadha. Magadha, this Kamsa was the ruler of Magadha, and he was traveling all these places. And finally, what he got, he took the kingdom from Kamsa and he didn't kept for himself and he gave to Ugrasena also, you know, because of the unattachment. There was no selfishness. So that is the reason he, in the context of the dharma, he took the kingdom from Kamsa and he is given to another ruler. So this is the commentary of the 22nd. And coming to the 23rd sloka, Yadi Hi aham navarteyam yad karmani atandrida mama varma anuvartande manusha partha sarvasya. The meaning is, for should I not ever engage myself in action without relaxation, men should in every follow my path, O son of Pritha. The commentary, it is saying that he is not only a blue boy of the Vrindavana, actually he was the man of the perfection, but still he was doing the action because he should be a role model. In the 21st sloka also we have seen that whatever a great man does, that other man does or imitate. Whatever he sets up as the standard that the world people follows, he should be a role model. Then only his prajas or the friends or who the society will follow. You know, that is very true. Very true means in the life story of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also we can see that his father, the Chudram Chatterjee, he was a poor Brahmin. He was living in the village, and one day the Semindar called him and he advised him to attend the court and give a false witness. And then he said that, I am sorry, I cannot do that. I know that it is not true. I cannot give the false witness in the court. Semindari system, you know that the 20th, the last decade of the 20th, or in the middle of the 20th century, what system was India, and a normal person cannot live in the village challenging the Semindar. Then there was no choice. He left his house with the two children. That time, the two children were there, and he left that village, and he was passing to the other village. Somebody brought this news to the Semindar, the next village Semindar, and then he came and he welcomed him and he asked him that what happened, and then he said that this is the thing is happened. I cannot go to the court and give the false witness, so that is not my nature. And then he said that okay, no problem, we will allocate some land and house, shelter and everything for you. Like that, the Semindar invited him and he gave a small piece of land and a small house given. There, Bhagavan Ramakrishna was born, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was born. So this is a very suitable story for this contest. Whoever is the great peoples, whatever they are doing, and the society also will follow. So like that, Krishna is saying that at any cost, you have to perform your duty with the utmost detachment. That is the most important thing here. So all the slogas, we can see the importance of the karma, the karma yogam, how to perform that. In the coming words also it is continuing. And what harm is there is I do not act. If I am not acting, what is the harm for that one? We can see in the next verses. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Sir Sureshji. Ishwarji, please come. You have 5 to 7 minutes, Ishwarji. Ishwarji, unmute yourself first.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible now. Please go ahead.
Okay. If you refer to stanza number 9, Yakyartha karmane anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Now it is not without reason that this is stanza number 9. 9 represents steadiness. 9th avatar is Bhagavan Krishna, Ramanavami. So 9 represents whatever you multiply any number by 9, the total you will get of the product is 9. Now Bhagavan is addressing Arjuna as Partha to remind him about the goal of human existence is to ensure that no more am I born in the world. And he says, Trishu Lokeshu Kinchana, kuch bhi kaam nahi hai. Why do I act? I act to get what I do not have now. Number one reason. And the only second reason is I act so that what I have is not lost. Then Bhagavan said, everybody looks up to somebody to do or not do. So if I am lazy, it is easy for other people to see that I am lazy. Manushyaha partha sarvashaha. That means whatever bad I do, people will emulate in an exemplary manner. Mama vartma anuvartante. Anuvartante means they will follow me like the sheep following the shepherd. Acha. So what is my responsibility? my responsibility is to act in such a way to glorify. Because and whatever qualities are dormant in me will shine forth. So activity must become work, and work is action dedicated to a very sincere goal. And when you continue work like that, it automatically becomes service, producing more than what I consume and giving more than what I take. Which means everything that I do as best as I can in an excellent manner so that I do not have any regret. And tomorrow I can do better than how I did today. Yadi shaham navarteyam jatu karmanya tandritaha mama vartma anuvartante manushya partha sarvasha. Anuvartante means continue to follow. So I have a great responsibility. So Bhagavan is telling each one of our study group members to follow Param Pujya Gurudev Sada Smaraniya Gurudev instructions of studying the allotted portion every day before breakfast, which means the same portion is studied by me 8 times during the week. Now you may say that the week has got only 7 days. Yes. After the study group, I go home and recapitulate what discussions take place, which means 7 plus 1. So more than this, I do not have to add, because each one, even a beggar in the temple, is an exemplary fellow for the fellow next to him who is looking up to him. Thank you. Hari Om. I completed.
Hari Om. Thank you, Ishwarji. Ajay ji, please come.
Hari Om. Thank you, Ishwarji. Generally,
You're always welcome.
we all work in the world of. Hari Om, Hari Om. Generally, we all work in the world outside with a motive that when we should attain certain things and we should not lose the things we already achieved. Continuing the discussion of verse number 20 and 21, Bhagavan in these words, Partha, O Partha, me kartavyam nasti. I don't have any enjoying duty in this world. Why? In the three worlds, that means in the all the three worlds means all the time I don't have any enjoying duties. I don't have to act in the world. Why? I don't have anything to be attained, unattained, anything unattained, and I have nothing to attain. Yeah, unattained that should be attained by me. I don't have anything because I am a perfect soul. I already identified with the Supreme Self. Here is Bhagavan saying, in not only as an individual Jivatma, as in the total, as the Parabrahma, as the substratum of the universe, Bhagavan talking to Arjuna in this way. Trishu Lokeshu, in the three worlds, Anavaptam, Avaptavyam, unattained and to be attained. Kinchana na api cha, nothing is there. Still, Karmani Vartayeva, I engage in complete duties. I completely working as the substratum of the world. I completely working. If there is no ocean, there is no waves. All the actions to be performed in the world, there is a substratum required. I am acting as the substratum continuously 24/7, 365 days. There is no exception on that one. That one is the important thing. I have nothing to attain, but nothing unattained or nothing to be attained. Still, I continue to work without any attachment as a role model of the society to continue, follow me. I have the great leader of the mankind. I am doing it. And Bhagavan's life, as Pujya Gurudev explained here, Bhagavan's life, you look at that one, born in the prison, immediately left the parents and moved to Gokul, and all the sports, Bala Leela, and all these things Bhagavan has done for the benefit of the people around him. He can keep on making the Manoranjan to the people by acting in the world, and then to the Vrindavan and the Rasa Leela and all these things, then moved to Dwaraka, made a own kingdom or kind of a township he made there one, And finally, he moved to, after completing the job, he left everything. And there is Bhagavan's life, you look at that one, there is no attached to the end. He is not attached to anything. He doesn't have to do anything, but still he keep on doing as a sports, as a leela. And once he moved from the one place to another, and finally here in Hastinapura, he is there to support the Pandavas. And in this ritual, in the war field also, he doesn't have to take the role of the Parthasarathi. He is the supreme self, but he, as a friend Arjuna, for the supporting Arjuna, for giving the right advice at the right time, he took the role, and finally he reached the war field, and he continues to do the Parthasarathi chariot riding. He's doing that one. He doesn't have to do. He actually, Bhagavan's at this stature, he doesn't have, as a Jivatma also, he doesn't have to do that one. But he took the role as the Parthasarathi, as the charioteer, and he's doing his job. Like Sharji mentioned, Puja Gurudev. Puja Gurudev, early morning, many people, Jaramjan used to say that morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock, he used to reply to all the letters he received every day. Because his work is completely, even if he doesn't have to attain anything, he doesn't have to be attained or not to be attained, but it is completely for the Loka Sangraham. He completely do his work. Morning 4 o'clock before the morning talk, he completes the kind of reply to all the letters which he received every day from all world, different parts of the world, and give an individual attention to the seekers, their doubts, their concerns, and Bhagavan Bhuja they used to do that one. That is another example which we can see that one. And coming back to verse number 23, he Partha, Havai Partha, Aham Jadu Atandridaham. I am doing anything without any kind of laziness. Karmani na vartayamati. If I am not engaged myself without laziness in the work outside, Manushya Sarvashaha, all the people which they look me as the role model, they look me as the leader of the mankind, they look me as the substratum of the universe, they will follow me. So for that Loka Sangraham also, I need to work continuously and continuously work in the world outside, even if I don't have anything, because people look at the great leaders, everybody is, as Ishwarji mentioned, everybody is a leader, everybody is having some importance in the society, even if they are in the lower shreni, shreni of the life, but still they have some kind of people are looking always at him as the role model. So everybody, Bhagavan has to, particularly people of the mankind, leader of the mankind, they have to follow that one. Whatever the action they do, that is, people are looking at that one only, not the what they say. It is not important. For that purpose also, Bhagavan keep on engaged in the actions outside, as even now doing that one. Bhagavan keep on doing his action for the Loka Sangraham, for people to look at him and follow that Bhagavan for all the time. Bhagavan as a role model, keep on working outside as a substratum of the universe all the time without attachment. Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you, Ajay. Rajendran ji, would you like to comment?
Yes. Hari Om. Namaste. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Everybody has spoken well about the meaning of the verses. I would like to throw some light to the terms and its origin, the karma. Karma is a Sanskrit word actually derived from a Sanskrit dhatu. Krinya means karane. We have learned this Bhajagovindam. Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamade, Samprapte Sannihide Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshadi, do Krinya Karane. Krinya is coming there. That means Krinya means Karane. Perform, do something. But the nature of the karma is such that the product of the karma is never lasting. It's ever perishing. still we have to perform for our daily life to maintain this life and body. Every moment one has to perform karmas. Here in the stanza, Bhagavan says, actually there are four items, what do you call the attributes of karma, or four things can be achieved through karma. Only four things in principle. That is Utpadyam, Apyam, Vikaryam, and Samskaryam. I think I have discussed with these things in our earlier classes in Dubai. Maybe our members will be remembering that. Utpadyam means by karma we can produce Utpadyam. Produce in the sense we can change the form. Not we cannot produce anything from the emptiness or from the vacuum, from the space. Just we cannot create anything. Whatever is available on the face of this earth, we can change the form of that. Name and form can be changed. No new item can be generated. So that is what we call Utpadyam. By doing karma, we can produce something. Now, second one is Apyam. Apyam means to reach somewhere. I can catch a train and reach Bombay and meet our Ishwarji. That is through karma. Reaching there is a karma, Apyam. And the third one is Vikaryam. Vikaryam means, as I told you, this changing the name. Wood can be made to a furniture. I mean, chair or anything like that. So name can be, name and form can be changed. That is Vikaryam. Then fourth and last item is Samskaryam. Refining. This also can be achieved. Refining, oil refinery, sugar refinery, everything, we can clean anything. So refining. This Utpadyam, Apyam, Vikaryam, and Samskaryam are the four things that can be achieved through karma. As far as the Lord is concerned, he doesn't have to do anything because he doesn't have to attain anything because he is there everywhere and he has everything. He is the one who is performing everything. So he doesn't, for his very existence, he doesn't have to perform, do anything like what we do in our daily life. Still, he says, Name partasi kartavyam trishu logeshu kinjana. Trishu logeshu, in this three world. For a common people, for people like us, this three world is our Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti. In the present life, we don't have any other world. These other worlds are, it's all imaginary, we don't know. But these three worlds now we are experiencing. That is avasthas, Jagrat, Swapnam, and Sushupti. Even in these, three world, Lord doesn't have to do anything. Still, he is performing because he doesn't have to achieve anything. He doesn't have to attain anything. Still, he is performing because people are following him. General public will follow the noble people. So, unless he performs something, the world cannot exist. So that is the interest of these two stanzas. I'm sorry to say this I am speaking from my mobile. Unfortunately, the charge has gone now. I will continue this my discussion in the next class. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om. Thank you, Rajendran ji. Sharma ji, please come.
इधर ही हूँ मनीष जी. See, it's quite interesting situation. Slowly we are getting into. अब कर्मयोग पर आ गए, भगवान उसको शिक्षा दे रहे थे. Why you should fight the war, right? Why he is in a situation, he's left as धनुष and गांडीव and all के भी नहीं लड़ना करके, तो भगवान उसको बता रहे हैं भी क्या उसको करना चाहिए करके और कैसे करना चाहिए. Now see, regarding the karma, if you see the earlier shlok than this, it is यद्य आचरति, जैसा आचरण, श्रेष्ठः, जो श्रेष्ठ पुरुष जैसा आचरण करते हैं, लोकः तत् अनुवर्तते, people follow them. So it's in a way, it's the responsibility of the person who even knows something or who has come for a particular goal in the world. Like भगवान तो अवतार लेके आए थे, किसी कारण से आए थे. So then they have to do आचरण accordingly. So जितने भी अवतार हुए हैं या जो श्रेष्ठ पुरुष हैं, उनको ज्ञान, पहले जिज्ञासा होती है ज्ञान प्राप्त करने की. ज्ञान प्राप्त किया, उसके बाद में उनको सब कुछ मिल गया, जरूरत नहीं कुछ करने की. Then again they do the श्रेष्ठ आचरण, ताकि लोग उनका अनुकरण करें. और जब वो दशा आ गई है, वो करना ही करना है, उसके अंदर उदाहरण देने के बाद कोई बोलता है भी हम क्यों करना, I mean, I born in riches, I got everything, ये बन गया, चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव हूँ, या फलाना ढिमकाना. Why? It doesn't work that way. Because आप अगर ऐसा करोगे तो फिर जितने भी पैसे वाले हैं जो और भी कुछ कर सकते हैं, even they stop doing it. So I just read a quote on Swami Vivekananda. It says, life is ever expanding, contraction is death. The self-seeking man who's looking after his personal comforts and leading a lazy life, there is no room for him even in hell. मतलब in other words, you have to keep on working. कर्म तो करना ही पड़ेगा. जब कर्म करना ही है तो लोगों के फायदे के लिए, लोक हित के लिए कर्म करना है. तो लोक हित का किसमें होगा वो देखना है. नो, वेरी ट्रू. भगवान के पास क्या नहीं था, द्वारका से आए भाई, वो तो सोने की नगरी उन्होंने वहां पे बनाई थी, उसको छोड़ के यहाँ पे लड़ने के लिए आए थे. विद दैट गोल वेरी क्लियर कट. उनकी दृष्टि आज के ऊपर नहीं है. He tells Draupadi, when Draupadi questions him the previous night of Mahabharat, when he goes for a discussion that they should call off the war and have a sandhi, Maitri ka leke gaye the, and Duryodhana refuses. He even agreed, okay, give me 5 villages. हम 5 पांडव उस गांव में, 5 गांव में रह लेंगे और कभी किसी से दुश्मनी नहीं करेंगे, अपना आराम से जीवन बसर करेंगे. बोले नो, बोले सुई की नोक, 5 सुई की नोक के बराबर भी 5 गांव नहीं दूंगा करके. The tip of the needle, even that much I will not give. He was bent on that. So that time Draupadi is asking him, "Ke Bhagwan, you forgot all these things. What were happened to me? मेरे कपड़े उतारे, मेरा ये किया, everything, each and every instance they are given." So Bhagwan says, Draupadi, I remember everything, but still I am going today that the future generations don't say that Bhagwan Krishna could have stopped the war. He did not do the, he did not initiate it. उन्होंने ये काम किया ही नहीं. मुझे पता है उन लोग युद्ध फिर भी करेंगे, लेकिन कल को दुनिया न कहे ऐसा. See, even there Bhagwan takes care that because people will follow what people like Bhagwan Krishna have been doing or Bhagwan Ram have been doing, they take those actions based on that. It is nothing to do as such. मतलब उनको हस्तिनापुर से कोई मतलब नहीं है, उनको राज्य से कोई मतलब नहीं है. No, it is the सत्य और असत्य. It's very simple. तो उसका उदाहरण भगवान ने चरितार्थ करने के लिए उनके एक एक कर्म, और जहां भी देखें, and then there if we see the chronology के how things happened, they happened with a purpose that he is leaving that place going for a bigger goal, but whenever he is in that other role, he is creating a situation and living in a way where people will remember him and remember him for quite some time. गोपियां उनके जाने के बाद में भी उनके प्रेम में मस्त रहती थी. मतलब जब प्रेम के बारे में सीखना था और जब उद्धव को थोड़ा हो गया, अहंकार हो गया, तो उद्धव को उन्होंने भगवान ने गोपियों के पास भेजा कि तू जाके देख वो क्या होता है करके. एंड देन ही रियलाइज्ड. So all these instances only lead us to one thing very clear: when you have a goal, the goal has to be in line with not only what is good for you, because you are a part of the whole. What is good for the society? That is the most important. So, it starts from small things. And there it is very important that Bhagwan is leading by example. He is not quoting something from X ke wahan ka hai, aisa karo, nothing like that. He is giving the reasons, and at the same time giving the reasons that what is it which makes you not do it, and still why you should do it, how we can do it. That is the thing given in this. Now here again, like I'm sorry, but I'll keep on reminding every time. Like हम लोग को पढ़ के आदत भी ऐसी हो गई है. We are in that habit that even when we are reading Sanskrit in the word meaning, even in Sanskrit, because उसके बाद में लिखा है Partha, we read the Sanskrit also Partha. Baba, it is not Partha, it is Parth. Because again, why I'm saying this? Because what we will talk in front of our next generations and the generation after that, because most of us, many of us are in 60s. Maybe next 4 or 5 years, they will be grandfathers. अब उनके सामने क्या हमने यही बातें करनी है? लॉर्ड नॉट भगवान, स्पिरिट नॉट आत्मा. अंग्रेजी में लिखा गया है फॉर अ वाइडर ऑडियंस, बट वी आर पार्ट ऑफ भारत, जहां पे लोग ज्ञान की प्राप्ति में रत है. इफ दैट इज द थिंग, एटलीस्ट वी शुड, इट इज आवर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दैट व्हेनेवर वी अटर these words from Bhagavad Gita, शास्त्र के जब शब्द का हम उच्चारण करेंगे, तो let us please let us stick to the original words, irrespective of, it's difficult, not easy, because पढ़ के इतने समय से हम पढ़ रहे हैं. It will come Arjuna, Partha, Krishna. No, it's Krishna. Even when you say Krishna, then you get that akarshan, one is attracting. Krishna will not get that feeling or that bhava in us. So keeping that in mind, again, which goes in sync with this shlok, not shloka, with the shlok, or not stanza, with the shlok. It is very simple. Even we have to lead by example when we talk to other people, that what Bhagwan Krishna was, what Bhagwan Krishna was doing, who Partha was, what Pandava were, why Pandava had the war, everything. Once we do that, we will also come to a situation where we get those bhav in our side. It is not bhava, it is bhav, which is emotion. So those things, when we start getting inside ourselves, because each, Sanjay ji always says, each shabda is a mantra in itself. मंत्र को जितनी बार हम उसका रिपीटेशन करेंगे, अनुवर्तन दे, उतनी बार मंत्र हमसे बात करेगा, हमारे अंदर बैठेगा. लेकिन अगर मैं सही बता रहा हूँ, अगर हम कृष्णा, पांडवा ये सब करते रहे, हमको मंत्र कभी हमारे मन में नहीं बोलेगा. उसी चीज को ध्यान रखते हैं, जो भगवान ने भी जो बात कही है कि भाई अगर मैं कर्म न करूंगा तो आगे की जो जनरेशन है, आने वाली जो पीढ़ी है, वो ऐसी ही हो जाएगी. तो हम ऐसा नहीं चाहते कि हमारे धर्म की बातें लोग भी गलत समझें. इसीलिए हरिओम.
Hariom. Now, Dr. Jadhav, please come.
Hari Om. Now we are across 2 shlokas where Lord is stating his position. There is always a question in philosophy that if that almighty power, if at all there is a creator, that almighty power, in what form that power is. It appears pervading everything. It appears omnipresent, present everywhere. But how that power is in terms of rupa, guna. So it is only the figment of imagination when an ordinary person thinks of the Lord. Sometimes we feel the Lord is like me, so I create an idol which is similar to me, but then I realize that the Lord has to have much more power than what I think, because he's all powerful. then I add the number of limbs to the Lord. I make him look majestic, because he has to be majestic, because if he's the ruler of everything, he cannot be same like me, because I have limitations. I am Santa. He's Ananta. Now, with these figments of imaginations, the Shraddha also develops accordingly. But a question definitely lingers in the mind that Lord is everywhere in the world, yet he is not affected by the world, yet he is responsible for the world's functioning, yet he does not cause anything for the individuals to act badly. He is supposed to be not involved in anything, yet he ensures that everything is done. These are quite contradictory terms when seen with an apparent vision by anyone. In our daily transaction or a Vyavaharika Vishwa, we know that there is somebody who is doing something. So there is a person who acts, there is an action that he performs, and there is a result that he enjoys or suffers. This is our general observation. Now, if you say that I cannot act unless the Lord has blessed me to act, unless the consciousness is pervading in me, I won't be able to act, then to separate my action from what the consciousness expects is very difficult for me. It's a philosophical dilemma. Everything happens because of Chaitanyam. Then the thief who is stealing a thing is also happening because of Chaitanyam. So in the stealing act, which act is of consciousness, which is not of consciousness? The very stealing or theft is not possible if the consciousness is not there. That means consciousness has acted in a thievish manner, but consciousness cannot be so bad. No, then the person is bad because he was doing the theft, but person alone doesn't do anything. He has nothing, he is inert jada. That's where the dilemma comes into the picture. If consciousness is responsible for everything that happens in the world, then all the miseries of the world has to be attributed to the consciousness. And if the consciousness does not cause the miseries of the world, then it should be attributed to somebody who is conscious to act. That means there has to be two types of consciousness, which cannot be true. Because in philosophy, this is not acceptable. All these questions that should ideally galore in the mind of a sadhaka, which of course has arisen in the wiser disciple called Partha. Partha is saying that my Sakha, my dear friend, who is of course wise, he's telling me that, look, Arjuna, just do the act that is told to you. And suddenly the question lurks in the mind of Partha that, all right, the Lord is telling me this, but what about Lord? He himself is also doing the role of a Sarathi. What about that action? Why is he doing it? And if he's a Lord, can Lord be doing any act? Because consciousness is inert, Kriya Vihina, and is actually seen performing an act. The most baffling thing is, Lord, when he appears in the world or in the Prakriti or any highly evolved jiva, when he becomes a Jivana Mukta and is still in the world the way Gurudeva was, because they are already Trigunatit, they are beyond the three gunas, they have transcended the gunas, but are still alive when they are in the gunas. This is the irony. You have transcended the gunas and you are still in the world. What do? Bhagavan Shri Krishna, not only he was beyond Prakriti and gunas, but the entire Prakriti and guna was subservient to him. Then when such a person who is king of kings of the entire universe comes back into the world, what will he do? We know that no action is possible unless there is a guna udaya. Either you have sattva, raja or tama, something has to be there, otherwise action cannot take place. Lord is beyond the three gunas, yet he is born as Sri Krishna. Then he is going to do a karma. How the karma can be done by a person who has transcended the three gunas? That is a $1 million question. That is precisely what Advaita excels in. Sankhya philosophy gave the structure. The structure and the function, the anatomy and the physiology of the universe has been explained by no one else but Sankhya. Unassailable. Can't be argued against. The most appropriate and tightly packed explanation of the universe and the creation comes from Sankhya. As Vivekananda says, nobody can state evolution better than Sankhya. But the Advaita's beauty is that which is not in the gunas and the prakrutudbhava gunas, how a person who has transcended the gunas can still be in the gunas and act accordingly. To explain that, knowing the mind of Partha has already come to that question, Bhagavan now, with the cryptic smile which he always wears on his face, Krishna's smile, Bhagavan Sri Krishna's smile, is something very, very intriguing. Anticipating what Partha must be thinking, that for me it is fine. I am a Kshatriya by Varna, I am Sattvaguni by Guna, and I have got some confusion, dilemma in my mind, so I am told that you please go and Tasmat Yuddhasva. Go ahead with the fight. Agreed, I understood. But this gentleman who is standing next to me, my Sakha, he is beyond the three gunas. What about he? Why should he act? Why is he acting? Is he really acting? Is he really doing karma or not doing the karma? To set right all these questions, Bhagavan starts, Na me partha asti kartavyam. The first statement itself tells that Partha, I do not have any duty whatsoever. And you may think that I am in the Bhuloka now. What about the Dyuloka or the Swargaloka or other lokas, etc.? Not only here, but not even in Trishu Lokeshu Kinchan. Not even an iota of kartavyam I have anywhere. Suppose somebody comes in your house, immediately we ask, Kim prayojanam? Kaise aana hua? How did you come, sir? what is the purpose of your coming? And if the person says, no, I have no purpose, I just came. You say, how can that be possible? Without intent, without purpose, without cause, nothing can happen. That is what our experience is. Cause, karana, intent, prayojana, purpose, hetu, then action. And what is Lord saying? Name asti kinchan kartavyam trishu lokeshu. In the three lokas also, not only here, I do not have any duty whatsoever. Then the question comes, if there is no duty whatsoever, why did you come? It also poses other questions. What are the people to whom the kartavyam is there? And there comes the background of karana prayojana hetu. We are doing karma. Right now, we are doing karma of listening to this beautiful scripture called Bhagavad Gita and the lucid and beautiful commentary by Gurudeva. Why are we doing this karma? Because one of our guna, sattva guna, became udita, became pronounced, and it compelled us to listen to something from Bhagavad Gita so that I can think of my mumukshata. I can think of going close to the God. That is why this came. So what is the karana? Karana is sattva guna. But why did sattva guna came in picture? There is a karana for it. The karana is maybe in the past birth I did some good deed, some sukarma. I might have helped some people. I might have nursed some people. I might have been very compassionate to some people. As a adrushta or punyam part of it, I was rewarded with the sattva guna, and the sattva guna compelled me to forsake or abandon my Friday morning from any restaurant and come to Bhagavad Gita to listen to it. So it's clear. The karma of this is happening because of sattva guna. So there is a karana behind it. What is the prayojana intent of listening to this particular session? The prayojanam is, I want to achieve something. Achieve what? I want to have sattva guna vruddhi, and then this sattva guna vruddhi will help me in reducing my chitta ashuddhata. Then that chitta ashuddhata will give me what is called as abolition of vikshepa from my mind, which will help me to concentrate my mind, and then through dhyanam or upasana, I will reach the Lord. This is the prayojanam. So, hetu is to reach the Lord. Prayojana is to basically purify myself to the tune that I can reach the Lord. Cause is because of the guna done through the deeds. So that is how I'm doing this particular karma. But Lord says, I do not have any prayojana. I don't have any intent. I'm with you to guide you in this war. What is my intent? No, I want to become very famous as Partha's charioteer. No, because I'm beyond that satta, yasha, kirti, sampatti, pratishtha. I don't need it because I have no desire left. A desireless man, what is then prompts him to act? There is no desire, and yet you want to act. One of the most intricate subject for understanding is acting without a desire. Because acting without desire would literally, we feel that it is like there is nothing to prompt me to act. How can I act? Even when there is a desire of the thirst, then I take the water. Why would I drink water without any desire of drinking water? So what is a desireless action? We do not understand because we have never been into the plane, pratala, where these kind of activities take place. We are in the plane or pratala where we act for ourselves. That is called selfish plane of activity, karma for myself. A little elevated beyond this is working for others, sahayajna, working for the society, working for others. This is a higher elevated level of action, pratala, of karma at a higher level. Beyond that, there is a pratala in which I have no purpose to act, but my acts are flowing from the promptness of the gunas that are playing on their own without any personal encapsulation into it. Imagine I am working, I'm speaking right now. While speaking, I know who am I and I'm speaking. So while speaking itself, I am aware that I am Dr. So-and-so and I'm speaking to the audience and I'm trying to, I is everywhere in my action. Now, just an hypothetical imagination or hypothetical concept we take, a situation, hypothetical enough, that I am speaking, but I'm not aware that I am speaking. Still the speech can take place because the vocal cords are still active, the shabdas are active. Asmita is not there. When that kind of deliverance takes place, at that point of time, deliverance is happening, but the person who is delivering is not aware that he is delivering because his awareness as me is gone. So does that mean that he is not aware of what he's speaking and he's just blabbering anything? No. Awareness of me is possible when I consider myself as somebody different than my everything around me. But if I am the only one existing in the entirety, not entire creation, even beyond creation, vyakta, avyakta, if I am the only one, then how can I be aware of myself? For my awareness to be me, my selfishness, there has to be two, dvaita. When I am into dvaitatita, advaita, when I am into Brahma Swarupa, then there is no feeling of even two, so there is no question of me acting. And when such a Brahman or such a Atma Khyati Purna Purusha gets into this world as an avatar, at that point of time, because he is Brahma with Brahma Swarupa, he does acts in this world because he is in the Prakruti, so he will act. So Bhagavan Sri Krishna spoke, acted, smiled, giggled, Gurudev laughed, joked, spoke. But that is on the borrowed gunas. So imagine somebody who has no money has borrowed some money because the Kubera is standing in front of him and then played some dice for the sake of entertainment. He has never been in the need of money. He was never attached to the money, but he wanted to just play the game. So that means this was Prayojana Rahita Karma, and Prayojana Rahita Karma is called Leela. Prayojana Virahita Karya. That is why Bhagavan is saying that Partha, I am on one hand saying I have no duty left. On the other hand, you may ask me, if you have no duty left, then why are you here? Bhagavan first explains that, let me tell you why I have nothing to do. I have no kartavyam. Why? Because kartavyam, the original Rigvedic word is kartvam, to do anything, either there has to be a prayojana or there has to be some phalam apeksha. When I am desireless, where is the question of karma phala apeksha? I don't have even apeksha of karma itself. Forget about because I know I am not the doer anymore. As if a tree would have its leaves bristle with the air that flows through the tree. At that point of time, the leaves of the tree do not think that, I'm waiting for the wind. The wind comes, they bristle, they move. The wind is not there, they don't move. In either case, they don't have either the desire of having the wind or not having the wind. That is a sahaja avastha. When my situation, Lord Krishna is telling, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Ham Guru Guru Nath Re, Nanak Naam Hamara Re. Nanak Naam Hamara Re, Har Ghat Dam Hamara Re. I'm there everywhere. I'm omnipresent. What is left? There is nothing other than me. How can I desire for my teeth? How can I desire for my nail? How can I desire for my skin hair? How can I desire for my arm? They're all mine. If this way everything is mine, then what is left in me? Nothing is left in me. So I being without desire, I being without intent or prayojana. So prayojana virahita, karana virahita, hetu virahita, phala apeksha virahita, karmam is what I do. Because I do not want to attain or achieve anything which is yet to be achieved. I have crossed the boundaries. You are progressing, Partha. You are a person who is sadhana chatushta sampanna. So you are progressing. So you have something to achieve. You are yet to become sthita prajna. You are still to go into higher realms of consciousness. Then you will be slowly transcending each gunas one by one. Then you will be ultimately transcending sato guna, that is, you will be doing prakriti bhedana. Then you will go beyond avyakta because you will do the laya of your asmita, your avidya will be gone. So you have stages to achieve. For me, there is nothing to achieve. So my attainment, there is nothing left for me to attain. Now the Partha's concept of jnana, because jnana was told earlier, Sankhya, karma, he is trying to now reconcile all the philosophy together. Hold on, you talked about jnani, now you're talking about karma, then you're talking about you not doing any karma. He's just trying to reconcile the thing. So, karma, when it's done, it is actually called karma. When the karma is obtained, it is called apas. And when the karma is ended, it is called daunsa. Karma, apas, daunsa. Doing the karma is karma. Obtaining the karma is apas. Ending the karma is daunsa. All these three, in case of Bhagavan's Leela, happens because of yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. Lord has to descend, avatarit, avatar. And the problem is, for the Lord to descend is, to come in this world you require gunas. To do the action you require gunas. For the gunas you require prarabdha. You don't have because Bhagavan Sri Krishna doesn't have a prarabdha. So then what they do? The king calls the queen and says that Can you give me your jewels? I want to see them. Although I have given it to you, I want to see them because I want to use them for some purpose. Similarly, Bhagavan, the Lord, requests Maya or Prakruti and says, give me some prarabdha. Why? I want to go down. The Maya happily gives, because Maya is what? Shakti of Shiva. The Shiva then borrows the prarabdha from the Shakti or the Maya, and what type of prarabdha he says? He decides. I shall be slightly bluish in color. I have a lustrous kanti. I shall be born in captivity. And then there will be my mama who will try to kill me. All this prarabdha is pre-designed and borrowed by the Lord from the Maya, and he's born. Now that he is born with Dvibhuja, like a human being, the question comes that if he's like a human being, he must be like me. And that is the biggest mistake even Arjuna did, for which he suffered. It was a papam. Even though Bhagavan Sri Krishna showed who he is through his entire Vishwaswarupa, he was Dvibhuja, he was Chaturbhuja, he was a Shadbhuja, he was Vikral, Virat Swarupa, Vishwarupa. Even then, Arjuna made a mistake of calling him as a friend in human form. It is easier to understand how Chaitanya expands to create the universe, but how whole universe and the creator can come into just a 6, maybe 7 feet tall frame of a human being is most difficult to understand. बूंद समाई सागर में जाने हर कोई, सागर समाया बूंद में जाने बिरला कोई. That is the reason why Lord is talking about his own presence, saying, Partha, first thing, I have no duty whatsoever to be performed in any of the lokas. In fact, I have come to you for the sake of this Mahabharata, for the sake of this Yuddha, for the sake of my avatar. I had something to do in Kokul, something to do in Mathur Vrindavan, something to do in Mathura, something to do in Dwaraka, and now in Kurukshetra. Why am I doing this? Partha, this dice that I have played called world. What are Gurudeva's word? As though work itself was to him a rapturous game of enthusiasm and joy. Game means Leela. And the very purpose of this game is in that word, Sanskrit word Leela. There are 4 or 5 different meanings of Leela. One of the important is Li. Li dhatu means dravikarana, liquefaction. What liquefaction Lord wants to do this out through the avatara? Liquefaction of the hardened heart of many, many people. Depending upon the chitta sthiti, the dravikarana happens. That dravikarana is called a Leela. And this dravikarana is done very easily by Lord. So it is called a Leelaya. Leelaya means easily. What was the size of Balakrishna? A small, beautiful baby. What did he show to Yashoda Mata? When he did the whole world inside the mouth. That is called Leela. Leelaya, easily done. When this game is being played by him, is to liquefy the hearts or the antakaranas of the entire samasta creation. Now it depends upon what kind of heart the person is carrying. if it is a susamskarita hridaya, chitta, antakarana, then it is like an ice. When you take the ice out and keep it on any exterior surface, it automatically melts. So it doesn't even require any heat. All it requires is to take it out from the place where it was frozen to the external place. This is the easiest state of antakarna which can be liquefied. Then some of them have sattva guna pradurubhava, sattva guna prakarshatada, so they can be liquefied by a little bit of heat. You take the butter out and just rub it little bit and it becomes oil. Some people chitta antakarna is like that. Some people's chitta antakarna is very hard than that. For the harder one, the Lord is anyway having Sudarshan Chakra in the hand. So through his action, even person of hardened heart or antakarna like Duryodhana, Ravana also get liquefied, so that everything in achara will ultimately, all the upadhis will ultimately reach the status of God. That is the game plan of God, not ours. So it will be followed. And there will be always deviation. For every deviation, there will be correction. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavet. I shall be there to correct it. And that is why being there for the correction of what has gone wrong, hey Partha, don't think that I have something to gain in it. So the Lord is saying, Partha, there is na anavaptam avaptavyam cha. There is nothing left for me to attain. अब दिल में हरि देखिया गावन को कछु नहीं. There is nothing left, Arjuna, for me to do. Yet I am doing this because I am here to uphold the Vedas, the Dharma. Why? Because it is my game plan, not yours. In my own Leela, I have set down certain rules. Every now and then, the constituents of this cosmos do not observe the rule. As a result, my game gets disturbed. For such a disturbed game, I have to come and correct it again so that it flows and goes on the way I have designed it. I created everything for Sahajivanam. Everyone is dependent on other because I have created the world like that. Every constituent of my cosmos or the universe is a dependent entity. The dependent entity shall function to see that the dependence is recognized and he contributes for the further movement. I gave enormous wealth to this universe. The wealth was given so that it could be distributed to everyone so that everyone gets it. Someone in the line, in the succession, decided to hoard the wealth, because of which down the line they did not get, because of which they suffered. This is absurdity. Partha, I have to come to correct this. And for the correction, the one who hoarded has to suffer. How much suffering? Equivalent to the suffering that he gave to the people down the line by hoarding the things. So this time he is a billionaire, next time he is a pauper. You only see him as a pauper and you feel how the Lord can be so cruel that he look how he doesn't have anything to eat. No, Partha, this was set in order so that I continue with my game in a proper manner. And in order to do that, I have kept an excellent record keeper. He sits in the Muladhara Chakra. His name is Ganesha. So he perfectly balances the papam and the punyam accordingly. And mind well, I'm not punishing people. I'm showing them their place so that they do not do the same thing what they did earlier, and that way they hasten their progress towards their own destination, which is the Lordship, which is me. So it is my krupa on them that they're suffering from adversities, which you look at it as only adverse condition. Now the Arjuna is getting another question in his mind. If this gentleman called Sri Krishna, my friend, if he is taking a stand that I have no kartavyam left, then why is he bothered about people who are following dharma and people who are not following dharma? He has got no kartavya. At the same time, he says, I am helping people. Then helping people is not your kartavya? See the philosophical dilemma. On one hand, you say, akartavyam. I do not need any karma. I do not do any karma. I have no kartavya. All right, sir. Fine. You have resigned from the job. Very fine. If you resigned from the job, then why are you coming in the company again and asking everybody? Why are you interested in what is happening to the people, whether they're following dharma or not? Why you're doing this? That is the reason why the 23rd shloka, the Lord gives that answer. Yadihi aham na varteyam. Now the word is varteyam, not karmam. This is Bhagavad Gita. Every word is perfectly chosen, divine creation. Varteyam jatu. Yadi hi aham na varteyam jatu karmani atandritaha mama vartma anuvartante manushyaha partha sarvashaha. If I do not engage myself in action without relaxation, then men would follow my path, and then what will happen? The whole world will be at a standstill or in a negative territory. For that matter, the so-called Saturn, Shaitan, the concept which doesn't exist in Hinduism at all. We do not have Saturn or Shaitan at all. These are creations of other religions. In Hinduism, we call every person as Shrunvanto Amrutasya Putraha. We call a son of nectar. That evil tendency, the satanic tendency, the Charvak Pravrutti, if we go by that, then what will happen? Eat, steal, merrymaking, die one day. Who has seen what life after birth? Who knows from where I have come? This is the easiest philosophy to pronounce. Now, if this philosophy is pronounced, what happened to the same clan of Krishna himself, the Yadavas? All the Yadav, what did they do? They behaved in the most reckless manner who can behave as if they were leaderless, although they had a leader of the stature of Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself. See what happens even during his presence. When he was alive, there was decadence, complete decaying of the entire Vrishni clan. If this can happen in Lord's presence, what will happen in Lord's absence? Then things will go to the rotting hell. And that is why, Partha, I have to set a benchmark. Who you shall look up to whom people shall look up to. If we do not have Gurudeva, Vivekananda, Tapovana Maharaj, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Shankaracharya, who will be our heroes then? Even in their presence, we opt for the heroes, those eunuchs dancing on the screen. They become our heroes. If the benchmark goes down, decadence will not take time. As you can see right now also, every now and then in Kali Yuga keeps happening. Who are the people who are having maximum wealth? We feel great in the mind that, look, I know somebody who is in politics. So and so minister is my friend. See, the benchmark changes so fast. That is because the corruption, the corrosion of values to set the benchmarks in a negative manner, the villains, the vamps, the pornographic actresses are getting social sanctity, which is happening right now. All this indicates dharmasya glanir. And on this glani, and dharmasya glani doesn't mean that it has to come in the entire universe and one in the king's form, the Lord will come. In the individual mind also, dharmasya glanir bhavati. That time the thought comes that I'm doing something wrong. Lord Krishna will not be happy with me. Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Bhagavan Sri Ram will not be happy with me. So you set your own benchmark in your mind, in the thoughts, so that the bad thought is defeated, good thought prevails, the tamoguna is defeated, rajo or sattva prevails. That Mahabharata is constantly going on in our mind. But for all the battles to fight, there has to be one right and one wrong. If two wrongs are fighting, then the battle has no meaning because it is going to be doomed in any case, whosoever wins. For that purpose, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Manushyaha anuvartante. Men are going to follow me. And how Bhagavan Sri Krishna is confident? Look at his own example. Thousands of years have passed, but even today, whose name inspires you? Bhagavan Sri Krishna kehte hi, all Hindus, they feel revered. What is that pinch that you feel when you do something wrong? It is Bhagavan Sri Krishna is watching over me. Imagine the person, imagine the entity, imagine the Ishvara to whom we have not even seen. We are definitely scared of our acts because we consider him as a benchmark. So if this is the case with the person who has not seen the Bhagavan Sri Krishna, then one who has progressed enough to see him, how it is possible that he will ever behave in a wrong manner? And that is simply because human beings are the only one where the antakarana is developed to an extent where he can think in a subjective manner. All other yonis, all the trees, animals, everybody cannot think in a subjective manner. And that is the reason the time and the space relation, the thinking which allows us to have dimensional knowledge is only possible with human brain. That is why Gurudeva says, in nature, everything acts constantly and sincerely except the human being. The reason is to reach to the Lord and to enter his kingdom, you need to penetrate the door of Lord's kingdom with the help of an instrument called sword of intellect. But this sword is a double-edged sword. If used to penetrate through the doors towards the Lordship, it really helps us to see the Lord. But if it is used in a reverse manner, the same sword can be used to destroy the Lord's creation, which we all are doing. And that is the reason, because there is a larger possibility of human beings using the intellect in a negative manner, and in order to discourage them from doing that, in order to see that they do not go towards adharma, I must establish some benchmark of dharma in the form of, because if I just say it in a divine lecture or divine scripture like Veda, people will not listen. I have to be born in a particular form which the common people will understand. That is why, Partha, in this Mahabharata, I am here, you are here, you are going to kill them, you shall be fighting, and all this has already happened. You are seeing it now. I have designed it yesterday. So from that angle, you please try to understand, Partha, I myself do not have any duty to perform. Karma is miles away. Not only it doesn't exist in my dictionary, because I am Triguna Atita, yet I have come in gunas by borrowing the prarabdha from Maya to set a benchmark And that for that benchmark, I'm standing right here in your chariot, turning my face towards you and teaching you what to do, so that what I taught you shall become an example for those who will be then listening on the Friday morning lecture, so that then they can themselves follow, which will be seen by others as another benchmark. And that is how the Kala Yuga will slowly start becoming Satya Yuga in the form of the Yuga for the whole world. But if not that, at least for the Mahabharata that is going on in this particular Buddhi. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Sanjay. We have about 2 minutes for some questions or some discussion points if anyone else has. Otherwise, Sukumarji can proceed with the closing prayers and pledge.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. Sanjay ji, as you said in your last lecture, these Gita Mata speaks to us depending on our level of spiritual evolution. And I think while your commentary was a lot about how Gurudev and some evolved souls could interpret these shlokas, I was thinking from a practical aspect, all of us, for example, you reach a point where you say, okay, sons are educated, daughter is educated, whatever, and now I don't want to do anything, right? And I think for me, this shloka was really at that level where it was saying, even me being God, I am doing something, right? So आप कौन हो? मैं तो भगवान होके भी मैं कह रहा हूं कि मुझे कुछ करना है, तो आप तो कुछ, you cannot not do anything, and that really is a very important purport. And I did not go into the realm of even desireless action. I thought that was very evolved, and that's a concept which comes multiple times. But here, I think the biggest thing for me at a base level was, if God can not be without action, who are you to even consider saying I will not be without action? Is that okay interpretation?
Absolutely right. In fact, the very fact that I feel that I should not be doing anything now because everything is done, my sons are settled, etc., is an action of a tamoguna. It is not an action of sattva-guna. The very fact that you feel now there is nothing left to be done, it itself means that it is a sankuchita buddhi vritti. In fact, when the sattva-guna is there and the buddhi starts expanding, not only that your body and your mind will be feeling prasanna to do so many things, because then the stimulus is not coming from your desire, it is coming from Lord. And the Lord's stimulus is so great. The live example of Lord's stimulus, how it acts, if you want to see, is Gurudeva's life. What prompted him to do day and night the Jnana Yajna? It was not his desire, it was universal or divine desire. And divine desire has got competencies which cannot be even compared with small mortal human beings' desire. So that is why the very fact that now everything is done, I don't want to do anything, is a tamasa that is existing, not the sattva guna. Sattva guna propels to do sattvic act. Rajoguna propels to you rajasic acts. What we are doing is, my rajasic acts are getting over according to me, so let me now fall back into tamas. That doesn't happen, sir. Rajasa guna, when it preponders, it takes you to sattva guna, not to the tamoguna. So this desire will not last longer. If it lasts longer, you will gravitate towards tamasa. That will never happen. And if that was the case, then even the grandfather would not have played with the grandson. He would have said that, why should I play? I have already settled my children. It doesn't happen. Even on the deathbed, you want to ensure that you have made a proper will for everybody. Rajoguna is still alive, sir. Hari Om.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Sukumarji, please commence the closing prayers.
Hari Om.